Let's rewind a little. In 1961, America orchestrated the Bay of Pigs invasion of Cuba. It tried to overthrow Fidel Castro's communist regime. The operation failed, so America placed an embargo on Cuba. It slapped it with sanctions, deprived it of products and partners, and the means to climb out of poverty. It is 2021, and Cuba is the poorest country in Latin America. In 2003, America invaded Iraq. It wanted to topple dictator Saddam Hussein, create a democratic, pro-America, oil-rich state. 8 years later, in 2011, America withdrew most of its troops, but by then it had killed anywhere between 151,000 to 655,000 Iraqis, fueled insurgency with its high-handed approach, triggered years of civil war, handed power to elites who siphoned off billions of dollars, empowered the Sunni groups, promised them a place in Iraqi security forces, failed to deliver. Disgruntled members of these groups then joined the Islamic State and helped its reconstruction. I know it's a long story. The point I'm making is short. All of this could have been avoided had America not botched up in Iraq, or in Syria, or in Yemen, or in Afghanistan. These four countries are often spoken of in the same breath as failed states. And they're all casualties of America's failed wars. Afghanistan was America's longest war. It lasted 20 years. Washington invaded Afghanistan in 2001. This was after 9/11. And after the Taliban government refused to hand over 9/11 mastermind Osama bin Laden. Osama was killed in 2011 in Pakistan. But US troops continue to squat in Afghanistan without any clear strategy for peace, without any clear plan for lasting success. Former US President Donald Trump promised to withdraw troops from the country. Under President Joe Biden, its troops have left, leaving behind a tattered, war-torn country. You just heard about what's happening in Kandahar. Insurgents are making inroads, just like they did in Iraq. There's a refugee crisis that is now brewing, just like it did in Iraq. Intelligence analysts are predicting a civil war, just like the one that broke out in Iraq after the withdrawal of American troops. This is déjà vu, playing on repeat. And America does this every time. It invades a country, trades the rights of the people with the promise of peace, fails them, and then exits the country, leaving it to cope with its destiny. Today, Afghanistan ranks 169th on the UN's Human Development Index. The country's education and healthcare system is as fragile as it can get. According to the Wall Street Journal, American intelligence community has concluded that Kabul could fall within 6 months. Afghanistan is a crisis of America's making. America did this in Lebanon too, and today reports say the same America is close to declaring Lebanon a failed state. You see, wars are a political weapon for the US. They're fought to distract Americans from the crisis at home, whip up nationalism. Wars are a badge of honor that every American president likes to wear. It was Lebanon for Ronald Reagan, Panama for George H.W. Bush, Iraq and Afghanistan for George W. Bush, Libya for Barack Obama. It is thanks to these wars that American presidents can wrap up their speeches and election rallies by proudly declaring God bless America and God bless American soldiers. It is thanks to these wars that American presidents get the opportunity to score a diplomatic point every Thanksgiving by visiting troops abroad. But what about the human cost of these wars? What about their consequences? Who will hold America responsible for the political instability staring at Afghanistan right now? As the Taliban returns to power, women are once again set to lose their rights, their independence. But the US seems to be the least bothered. At home, it is celebrating independence. The 4th of July fireworks lit up the sky. There was no spark of remorse for what happened in Afghanistan. The story of the 4th of July goes back to the 18th century. It was on this day that America adopted the Declaration of Independence in 1776. 4th of July has been celebrated since as the birth of American independence. Fireworks, parades, concerts, barbecues, they're all part of this day's tradition. This year, we also saw a sight that may be hard to unsee. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg pulled off a stunt to celebrate his country's independence. And before I tell you more about it, I want you to take a look at it for yourself. We should apologize for showing you this. It's only Monday after all. But the American flag, an electric surfboard, a setting sun, and country roads playing in the background. It's a perfect recipe for a brilliant video, but somehow Zuckerberg managed to make it all look extremely awkward. This strange stunt came days after Facebook crossed $1 trillion in market value. Maybe that's why its CEO decided to take Independence Day celebrations a notch higher. This man is steering the bandwagon of digital colonization abroad and blackmailing independent startups while surfing in the glory of independence at home. Mark Zuckerberg also embodies the American hypocrisy that we're talking about. It's a country that wants to be the flag bearer of democracy, invade Vietnam and Cuba on the pretext of stopping the spread of communism while failing to safeguard its own capital back home. America wants to celebrate independence at home while thinking it is Washington's moral authority to run and ruin the world outside. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.